car number 11. Rusty Kelly in car number 89 and Chuck Angus in car number 96. Butch Winters in car number 80 and Tony Conway in 54. On back, we have the 79 of Gregg Witt and the number 70 of Tommy Gilbert. And then it's Rick Hine in 27 and Danny Blackwell in 77. Getting formed up in the fourth turn, set for the start. As they move out of turn number 4, the green flag is out and we are racing. Now to turn number 2, and it looks like Rusty Kelly along with Chuck Angus got together just about the time they were moving through the intersection. And the number 14 of Larry Holbert goes on a spin down in the third turn as well. Collecting lap number 1, and out front it's Rick Levingood in car number 11 and the number 8 of Charlie Hartz as they exit turn number 2. Car number 80, Butch Winters, currently runs at third, Tony Conway at fourth, while Gregg Witt and the number 96 of Chuck Angus will battle side by side for fifth place as they move out of turn 4. John Basham in car number 1 getting turned around in the third turn area after 2 laps of competition. Down into turns 3 and 4, and it's still Rick Levingood, your race leader, with Charlie Hartz now running at second. The number 80 of Butch Winters currently goes third. Just outside the top 5, we find Rick Hine and Chuck Angus along with Tony Anderson. Racing out of the second turn, it looks like Angus has gone around the tire barrier. He'll go a lap down to get a lap penalty for that. Bobby Johnson slithering through the intersection. Dave Staten comes to a stop along with Rusty Kelly just before the intersection area. Exiting turn number 2 and down through the intersection, it's Rick Levingood out front. 2 car lengths back to Charlie Hartz, and Dave Staten cuts through the intersection. Charlie Hartz battling now with Butch Winters for second place as they move through the intersection. Coming up on lap number 6 this time around. And through the intersection comes our race leader, Rick Levingood, with Charlie Hartz running at second. Butch Winters goes third. Gregg Witt at fourth. And at fifth, Tony Conway. Looks like 51 Jim Berry cuts down a left front tire on his machine. Bobby Johnson slowing for the traffic at the intersection as well. Tommy Gilbert forced to stop at the intersection for our race leaders. 7 laps now completed. Rick Levingood, the race leader, moving down through the intersection, looking to pick up lap number 8. The battle's at second place right now as Butch Winters pulls up along the inside of Charlie Hartz, moving down into turns 1 and 2. And it looks like there's a problem on one car up in the second turn. It looks like it's the number 90 of Rick Kelly. Our race leaders move out of turn number 2 and through the intersection. The top 6 cars have broken away from the rest of the field and run in a pack all by themselves as they move through the intersection. It looks like the number 89 of Rusty Kelly is headed back towards the pit area. Picking up lap number 11 and edging towards the halfway point of this event. And it's Rick Levingood, the race leader, moving down into turns 1 and 2 in the Bailey Tool Service Racing Chevrolet. And it looks like Calvin Crane in car number 4 One of the leaders in the point standings coming into tonight's racing action is having a problem with his machine, and he's headed back towards the pit area. Certainly a break for Pat the Wildman Pierce, as he came into tonight's racing competition tied with Crane. However, Pierce will probably break that tie for the lead in the point standings by simply staying in the event. Race leaders move out of turn 4 and moving through the intersection. Rick Lovingood looking for his first feature event victory of the 1993 racing season. Charlie Hartz has somehow caught Butch Winters off guard and motors past to take over second. Tony Anderson in car number 42 now challenging Butch Winters for third place as they move over to turn 4. Tommy Gilbert gave us all a real thrill that time at the intersection. It's Rick Lovingood out of turn number 4. And Charlie Hartz, car number 8 now running at second, trying to take the lead away. Tony Anderson right there as well at third place now in the number 42. The top 5 cars move bumper to bumper through the intersection, and Dave Staten nearly gets together with Gregg Witt. Jim Berry has gotten that tire replaced on his car several laps down, but in the thick of the action now. Battle for the lead into turns 1 and 2, and Charlie Hartz will look to the outside of Rick Lovingood. They're side by side into turns 1 and 2. Lovingood trying to hold back the charge now of Charlie Hartz and Tony Anderson as they race back into turns 3 and 4. Lap number 17, this time through. Tony Anderson maneuvers past Charlie Hartz to take over second, and it looks like Tony Conway will now challenge as well. Meanwhile, Anderson dives to the outside of Rick Lovingood to battle for the lead down into turns 3 and 4. Anderson carries well on the outside, and now he'll have the more favorable track positioning going into turns 1 and 2. Anderson erupts in smoke, though, going into turns 1 and 2. We don't know if it was engine smoke or tire smoke at this point. Exiting turn number 2 and down through the intersection, it's Tony Anderson out front. Rick Lovingood runs at second. Charlie Hartz now at third. Lap number 19, and we're 6 away from a finish. The leaders are now in single file into turns 1 and 2. And Pat Pierce now has reeled in Rick Hine to run for 7th now. His nearest pursuer in the point standings, Calvin Crane, is also back on the racetrack, but I don't feel he is on the lead lap. Down into turns 3 and 4 now with less than 5 laps remaining, and Unconscious Johnson's on a spin down into turns 3 and 4. Danny Blackwell, whoa, slams into the side of him there down in turns 3 and 4. It looks like the red flag is out. The red flag is out. Perhaps there's some debris on the racetrack. It looks like there's an oil slick.
And even if you don't win on WRKA, everybody who's here that night will still get a chance to possibly sit in the hot seat because we'll draw for more hot seat contestants. Go to the banquet table and sign up.
Okay, Tony Anderson sitting on the hot seat right now. And the green flag is out with less than 5 laps to go. It'll be Anderson leading the field into turns 1 and 2 with Rick Lovingood going to the outside. He'll drop into second. Charlie Hartz goes third. Gregg Witt at fourth. Down through, and Raymond Johnson goes around the tire barrier. Down into turns 3 and 4. And it's Tony Anderson out front with Rick Lovingood running at second. Somehow Charlie Hartz has found the infield and is getting passed on the outside by several cars. Up to the number 4 position comes Rocket Roger Vincent and the number 27 of Rick Hine, now going 6th. One car in trouble. It's Calvin Crane out of turn number 2 and down through the intersection. Back into turns 3 and 4. Pat Pierce now making up a spot to the inside of Danny Blackwell into turns 3 and 4. 21 laps now, 22 complete. And they're back into turns 3 and 4. Out front, it's Tony Anderson in car number 42. Gregg Witt now runs at second. The number 11 of Rick Lovingood now at third. Back into turns 3 and 4. Lap number 23 this time around. And there's 2 laps to go. Into turns 1 and 2. The battle's at third place. And it's Rocket Roger Vincent trying to get around the number 11 of Rick Lovingood. Down into turns 3 and 4. White flag for Tony Anderson in car number 42, and he's back into turns 1 and 2. The number 79 of Gregg Witt now runs at second. Rick Lovingood still at third. He's challenged on the outside by Rocket Roger Vincent. As they move down through the intersection, Rick Hine in the number 5 spot. Over to turn number 4 and around the outside of Pat Pierce. And it's Anderson taking the victory. Gregg Witt for second. Rocket Roger Vincent, then Rick Lovingood, followed by the 27 of Rick Hine.